We're here with another episode of Inside the 48. Today we are here with
Tyler Thomas from Brutal Flowers Films.
And what got you into filmmaking?
I've always been just fascinated by films ever since I was a kid. I remember the first time I saw Jaws, just being blown away by it. Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Of course, Star Wars, especially the first two. And I wanted so bad to be able to know how those were made. But at the time, you know, I'm kind of older. Mm-hmm. And so back then, like doing films, it was just like, it was impossible. It was very expensive to process film. And so when I was in college, I kind of dabbled with the idea of it, but I was like, well, you know, what are the odds I'm able to make a living at this? So I wanted to do something that I knew for sure I could make a good living at, which put me in IT. Mm-hmm. But then I had, probably for the last maybe 10 years, I had been toying around with actually doing stuff, and I even had some scripts and stuff, but I always wanted to, I kept getting stuck because I wanted it to be perfect, and I never actually did anything. And so then I heard about the 48, Vern. Mm-hmm. Vern Adams was telling me about the 48, and I said, I would love to get involved. And he said, well, there's a mixer, just go to the mixer and see if you can find a team. And so I ended up with the Fiorella brothers, and they wanted me to act, which I had done acting when I was in high school. I had acted quite a bit. So that was my first 48, and I loved it. And so then that was in the summer. And then when the October one came, I was all excited, and I was trying to, let them know I was interested. And I just kept hearing, we're not sure if we're going to do it or not. And so then I said, you know what, screw it. I'm going to do it. And I had no idea what I was doing, but I had seen how they had done it.
So the second run, you did your own team?
The second run, I did my own team, and I was the only one who'd ever done a 48 on the team, and we finished. Mm-hmm. Now, some people like it. I think, technically, it's horrible, but we finished it, and the storyline wasn't bad, but the most important thing that I got out of that was I finished something, right? Because you have to finish in 48 hours. And then from there, my next movie I did outside of the 48, and I said, boy, if we did that in 48 hours, what if we gave ourselves a month? And I set a deadline, and we did a 24-minute movie in a month. Oh. And we finished it. And then I've been going ever since. So
you said earlier it wasn't going to be perfect, or you wanted it to be perfect. What did you mean by perfect?
So I kept getting stuck on, I would write the script, but then I would read the script, and I'm like, this isn't good enough. And then I would just keep modifying it. And then I would get to the point where I would start a storyboard, and I would be like, well, I really need this location, and I can't find anything that's even like it. Let me just scrap this whole scene. It was just nonsense. It's just you know what I mean? It was never good enough.
Beating yourself up.
Yeah.
So you never brought any fresh eyes to say, hey, what do you think of this?
No, because I didn't really know anybody, you know? It turns out I actually did know. I knew Vern and BJ, and I had never talked to either one of them about it, so I didn't even know that either one of them was even doing this. And then somehow Vern and I started talking about I had this interest in Vern. That's how I found out that Vern was involved. And then I think it wasn't even until I was actually in the audience of a 48 that I realized, oh, BJ does this.
What year was that? When you did the first one, and then you did your own team?
I think it must have been 2017, maybe.
Okay, so just recently.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so how many 48s have you done?
I've done 6 48s, and 5 I've been a team leader.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and that's the Brutal Flowers?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So do you have a core team that is it stayed the same, or have you expanded over the years? Or
Pretty much. So, BJ's brother, that's how I know BJ. BJ's brother, I think, has been in every 48. He's the only person that's been in every one. And then the guy who I've been using to do my lighting, named Larry. Larry's been with us, I think, on every shoot. And then my partner Wes does the sound, and he's been with us on every shoot. And then we usually keep it really small, so that's usually the crew, and then the cast is usually like 3 people. So I don't think we've ever done a 48 with more than maybe 7 people.
Huh. Nice.
Yeah.
So have you won any awards and then for any of the 48s that you've done?
So I won one. I won Best Original Song. One year we got musical, which is the one I was dreading. And I was like, you know, it's great, let's do it. And we won Best Original Song. And I will say there was only 2 films that had original songs. So I beat out one team. I still won something. And then I was nominated for, so we came in 3rd place for the Cleveland version of the Global one that was over the summer. And then we got nominated for Best Location, we got nominated for Best Actor, Best Special Effects and Makeup, and we got nominated for Best Supporting Actor.
Nice. Wide variety there.
Yeah.
So when you do your team, do you have a set structure that you found the chemistry that works for you as far as time management making a 48?
Yeah, we do. I don't know if it's unusual or not. I mean, I think some of the stuff that we do is I took right from the Fiorella brothers, right? Like we write on Friday, we film on Saturday, and then we edit on Sunday. So all of that was there. I've added some of my own stuff to that, which is, so we all meet at the house. Everybody meets at the house. And then by the time I leave the location until I get here, which is not very far, it's like 10 minutes, I force myself to mentally write the script. Like I know the storyline by the time I get home. And then we'll have pizza. And we'll decide on, okay, this is what we need for props, this is what we need for costumes, and then they all go off and they go shopping while I write the script. And then while I'm writing the script, sometimes I change my mind. So I'm calling and I'm like, no, return that and get this instead. So I don't know if you remember, so we did a 48-hour last October, and I didn't know how it was going to end. And so it was like, because I think the stores were closing like maybe at 11 o'clock on Friday, and I'm like, we need torches. Can you get something for a torch? And so that was like a last minute thing, and they were able to get it. So
it's going to be more challenging this year because like Walmart closes at 8. 8:30 or whatever.
Yeah. Yep.
And I think the kickoff or whatever is at 7:30, whatever.
Yeah, so they're not going to have much time. Yep.
What's been the hardest prop or whatever to find or to make? If you had a challenging thing, is how do we fit this in there? I don't know how to fit this. If you had like a line or a prop or something that's been super difficult to make into your story?
Well,
most challenging, I should say. No.
I guess I will confess that there was a year very early on where we got something like Thriller, I think. And I actually was so consumed with how do I make this? Because at the time I was like, I really wanted it to be great, right? And I was so like putting in all these ideas, and I got done writing this script. And I was like, oh shit, I didn't put in the line, I didn't do any of it. So then I went back and I was like, okay, how can I fit this in? And then later I went back and did that. But I don't know, like usually I can't remember anything where I was like, there was one, I think my first one was a basketball. And we had sci-fi, and so I remember like we ended up doing where there was an alien and John sees the alien and he's trying to communicate with it, so he just takes the basketball and he like rolls it on the floor and then the alien rolls it back. So
like E.T.
Yeah.
The Reese Pieces.
Yep. Yep.
Is there like some do's and don'ts that you would advise for like a newer team?
Yeah, so the one thing that I learned really early on is it's okay to have like a lot of dialogue, I think. I mean, it's preferable, I would say, to keep the dialogue more minimal. But if you do have a lot of dialogue, keep the lines really short. Like, I try to keep the sentences to like no more than like 5 or 6 words because they don't have time to memorize lines. And so you have this like long sentence and you just keep going, you keep retaking it because they can't remember the line. So I try to keep the dialogue fairly small, and then the individual sentences, like this character says 5 words, and this character says 5 words, like no long monologues, nothing like that. I would say, so we, fortunately, my team has been kind of put up with me, and I guess I'm a bit of a control freak, but they have allowed me to like just write the scripts, which I have heard like other people have like 3 or 4 people writing the script, and they just like work all night. And because it's just me, and there's not that huge debate over everything, I always get plenty of sleep. I usually get 8 hours of sleep on Friday night and 8 hours of sleep on Saturday night, because it's like, well, I'm starting writing usually by 8, and then I usually don't spend more than like 3 hours, and I got a script, right? So.
And then everybody's here, so everybody can read it. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so you don't have to email it to anybody.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah.
What about like you said some? Those were all positives, right? Do you have something that you absolutely failed at, like bad advice you learned from the past, like this does not work, don't ever do this?
Yeah. So definitely, if you get musical, do the other one.
Western, isn't it? Isn't it usually Western musical?
Yeah. So no, I would say if you want to do it and you don't want to do the other one and you want to have fun, I would say at least like kind of practice beforehand. So we ended up doing musical. Nobody in the cast could carry a tune, and honestly, most of them couldn't even keep the beat. And so what I ended up doing was, because I heard that you wanted like put the music in afterwards, so in order to keep them on beat, I was like clapping. Well, you could hear it, and it was horrible. It really was.
But you
won.
It
was bad. Somehow I won. I don't know how.
Is that the one that you dread the most?
I would say, I mean, there's things about it that I do like, but that was the one where, honestly, when I was in the theater, I was just kind of like, cringing, because I felt like the musical part was so bad, it was hard to listen to.
But honestly, I don't know. This is how I feel, at least, when I'm in there watching and somebody comes up with musical. I'm just like, I feel sorry for those guys. It's like you already know that it's difficult for them, so you kind of give them that little.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, that's true.
So, is there a genre that you haven't picked that you've always wanted to pick?
Well, it scares me, and I would probably fail at it, but I love Westerns. But, you know, I don't have, I'm not prepared for it. I don't have any of the costumes or anything.
Call Scott.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. So, it's one of those ones, I guess, kind of like musical. Like, I dread it. Like, it probably won't be good, but if it's good, it's going to be really good. So, I guess that would be one. I mean, I've gotten really lucky. Like a lot of the ones that I've gotten are things that I like to do. Like I got to do thriller, which I like. I got to do a sci-fi. I got to do a ghost one. So they're all, I've been like pretty lucky. I mean, there are some genres like I don't want to do like the kids thing. I don't even know any kids, so it would have to be like an adult pretending to be a kid. There would be another disaster.
Everybody in diapers.
There
Make
you
a
go.
comedy. Last time it was like detective murder or something. What was your? It was like suspense or something.
What was it? It was
somebody was murdered and you were trying to figure it out, and then it was BJ's brother pulled the gun at the end.
Yeah. I can't remember what it was. It wasn't cop. It was like maybe it was suspense, something like that.
That's the one you guys got third place then. Right?
Yeah.
Nice. So, do you have any up and coming projects that you want to talk about, or projects maybe you just finished?
Sure. Yeah. So I just finished. So you helped me with it. We just did a movie called Love and Murder, and it's kind of a suspense type thing with a twist, and I just had like a lot of amazing people work on it. So Johnny Woo was my director of photography, and Johnny's just extremely experienced. He's great. And then Scott Brocious acted in the movie, but then he also helped us out with a lot of things. Like, so he's also a director, so he helped us. He had a lot of good input, and then he also helped us a lot with sound. So that was the first. We've always just used one boom mic, and so this was the first movie that we incorporated lavalier mics, and he gave us some advice on how to do that. So yeah, really happy with it, and so we're going to be doing the film festival thing with that, and then I'm just toying with the idea of maybe trying to do a web series.
Nice.
So that might be, if we do it, it would be probably something next year we would get around to doing.
Is the idea come from your editing lessons and whatnot? Is that what's interesting you into doing that?
As far as doing a web series?
Yeah.
Well, I guess I feel like, honestly, I think they're fun. I think web series are fun because I like the fact that like it's a continuing story, but I also like I think it's a good way to build an audience because like people keep coming back, and maybe there's a little bit of word of mouth, and you get more people and more people. And so one of the things that I've been struggling with is like I just don't have a very big audience I mostly post stuff on YouTube, and I think the most hits I've ever gotten is like 350. So I just kind of want to...
It's just tagging.
Yeah.
You have to tag the right hashtags.
Yeah.
In it to spark interest.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm trying to learn how to do that, and I think maybe the web series would help. So today I only have, I think, over the past couple of weeks I got 6 new subscribers. So I now have 36 subscribers. And I would strongly encourage all of you to go on YouTube and look for The Brutal Flowers, and then after you watch a movie or two, just hit that subscribe button.
How did you come up with the name Brutal Flowers?
So Brutal Flowers was like one of those things that I didn't even like think about. We needed a team name at the 48, and so I'm like, I was filling out the form, and I'm like, what should we call ourselves? And so most of the people that work on our films, almost everybody, has been, all of our regular people are all from the LGBT community. And so that was where flowers came from. And then I was like, what? We're not pansies, so we're brutal flowers. So that's where that came from.
And you got quite a garden here.
There you go. Yeah. My partner does all this.
Nice.
Yep.
And how would we find you on social media?
So you can just, I have an account on Facebook. It's just Tyler Thomas. And then the Brutal Flowers has an Instagram account, which I think is called Brutal Flowers Films. And on YouTube, I think it's called just The Brutal Flowers. So you can find us on any of those.
Cool. Well, I appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Cool.
Thanks.
Thanks, Ron.
Mm-hmm.